The default macOS terminal is so absolutely boring looking. It's all just black and white. And for a system that is kind of built on looking pretty with these expressionistic, artistic depictions of CPUs, and this is the internal workings of one of their displays. It's just like absolutely lackluster. It even lacks the color profile that you might see like in Ubuntu, that makes it kind of easy to decipher what you're doing, and I'll get to that in another video. What I will say is, if you're someone that works within a lot of terminals, it's easy to get confused, especially when there's not a lot of color differentiation. I know it says the name of the machine right here, but it's easy to miss that, at least if you're me, because I am the kind of person that has like 20 open at a time. So this is when you open up terminal, this is your default look. Now, wouldn't it be better if it looked like that, right? Well, that's easy, and you probably know how to do it. It's something called neofetch. So all you got to do is go, it's brew install neofetch, right? Yep. So there's that, and I've configured it to trigger neofetch when you open a new terminal. But something I thought of today is, rather than maybe, let's see, you're working from a terminal, and then you've done a bunch of stuff, right? And you're getting down here back into that black and white space. Now, typically you're going to go clear to kind of make some room, start back up at the top. And I really, really like the visual indicator that neofetch offers, because I only have the one laptop, and it lets me know what terminal I'm in, because I don't want to go and configure a bunch of profiles, this thing and that thing, and it's just like too much tinkering, and that's even for me, and I love tinkering. So what I've done is this. Rather than the typical clear command, which just clears you back down to this boring base here, if you go into terminal, you can pull up an editor for a very special file that controls your shell settings. And normally, if you're on a relatively new Mac, unless you haven't updated, and I didn't update to ZSH, it just told me one day that that's what I was using, so I'm going to assume that that's what everyone is using. So if you go nano and you go to this file here, it's a hidden file, and it might not even exist yet if you haven't customized your shell settings. It's your home directory, ZSHRC, right? And that's going to bring up your shell setting. We're going to go down here, just append this to the end, just ignore all this up here. We're going to take the typical clear command, which, like I said, just gives you this boring bullshit, right? And we're going to edit our shell configuration so that clear not only does that, but also passes the neofetch command. So it gives us that nice jumping off point that indicates what machine we're on, and gives us a little pop of color. And if you work from a ton of terminal windows, it's going to help you stay organized if you're disorganized like me. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I already had these comment lines I always like to let myself know what's going on, what things I'm changing as I configure things, like things that could be that could affect the performance of the system. I found this had to have no adverse consequences, as it is only modifying the settings for me, the user kit. So we're going to go clear, open parentheses, close parentheses. We're going to hit a space, that little wiggly bracket, down, tab over, /user bin clear. Now this is where the default system command for clear lives. We're going to put a comment in here as well, telling us that this is directly calling the clear binary. Doing it in a way other than this will cause this to call clear infinitely. It'll go into a loop and it'll just spit out an error. And after that, we're going to hit enter again, get back over. I like to do 4 spaces, type in neofetch, enter, and we're going to close that little squiggly bracket. And from there, since we're in nano, we hit Command O to write out. We're going to write out, and if you're in Vim, if you're a tryhard and you're elitist and you use Vim, obviously you're not going to do this, but you use Vim, you know everything, you know what to do. Alright, so it wrote, and now we're going to Control X to exit out of Nano, and now we need to tell the system to use what we just wrote, right? So we're going to do that by issuing a source, right? Little tilde, tell it to reference the file that we just modified. And now, when we hit clear, it should clear and shoot out a little neofetch, giving us a beautiful little jumping off point. And like I said, this is huge for me organizationally, and I just like the colors. I just like how groovy and retro that is. I love the old Apple logo. Oh, and something to mention. Let's say you don't want to do this and you want to remove what we just did, right? Backspace, and O to write the file, confirm, exit out of Nano to issue that source command, and then it should go back to the default, but oh no, it's not. Don't worry. All you got to do is restart terminal, and now it's going to reflect those changes. So if you decide to go back and change something back to the default and you're thinking, oh no, why is it not doing it? Just restart terminal, make sure to actually kill the app, open it back up, and it'll be how it was in the first place. Wow, could I stumble over my words anymore? All right. Bye.